coming today.
Hi.
How's your day been so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, a really good day.
Awesome. Are you enjoying the fall weather?
I am. Yes, yeah, I am.
Okay,
I like the
awesome.
cold.
Yeah. Okay, so I just kind of want to ask if you could give me a brief kind of idea of why you're here today and what we're working on.
I just kind of have this weird fear of heights type of thing that I'm not so scared that like I'll ever come into contact with these heights per se. Maybe I avoid those situations. But like a little YouTube video where they're skydiving or something or stand on the edge of a plane, it's like my hands get clammy and it just is like this weird sensation of like tight chest or like high blood pressure, like boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I hear you're saying it's heights that scare you. Do you feel like this is affecting the things that you're willing to do or need to do?
Not necessarily. I mean, like I'll go to a theme park and like I'll look at the roller coaster and be like, oh my gosh. But like I trust that it's built to be safe and that kind of thing. It's more of like the unharnessed or like at the edge of a cliff or like falling down, like, you know, gravity will take you take you down with it. So yeah, that's where like I think more of the fear of heights comes from.
Okay, and so are you hoping that we can work on that so that we can reduce that overall fear of heights that you have?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything that you remember that kind of started this fear, or can you think of a time when it sort of began?
I would probably say it's from when I was a kid and like hearing my mom be like really afraid of heights and like me thinking that it was like a more dangerous thing than maybe it was. I didn't necessarily have my own fear of like climbing a tree or like maybe it's because I didn't understand the repercussions of like a broken limb or like what would happen, but I was kind of fearless in that sense. But there have definitely been times where I've been to the Grand Canyon or things like that, and I don't quite remember this trip actually, but I was told that I didn't want to go close to the edge. And yeah, sometimes I look over or something and I'm like, well, let's not look over the edge. We'll like turn back around, like maybe in a balcony in a hotel room or something like that.
Okay, so it started after childhood, you'd say?
Yeah, I'd say like the child, like maybe like pubescence, like middle school, and then yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what things in your daily life that you avoid due to your fear of heights.
If there's like a second story in like a mall, I will not like hang over the edge and like chat with friends like maybe you see people do, like people watch. I'll like walk towards the stores, you know what I mean? And kind of
so you stay further away from the edge.
And again, just the notion of like there's no safety net or nothing, no harness or anything like that. A hotel balcony, maybe like I won't go out, or near the edge of like a sky bar roof deck or something like that. Not that there's so many of those around, but you know, when those situations arise, I do think I like, you know, more room for them. I'll be inside or I'll be over here. I would say that's probably like where they manifest the most, day to day.
Okay.
Or like a random YouTube video. Sometimes these people are like adrenaline junkies, climb to the top of a crane or something like that, or at the top of like a helipad at this like a skyscraper. That like makes my hands clammy and I go, ooh, no thanks.
Okay, so you do come into contact and pretty frequently with the things that are kind of triggering that fear in you.
I would say frequently enough to like make it noteworthy. Yeah.
What are some things that you do when you're feeling anxious in those moments to help yourself kind of ease that anxiety? So it might be things ways you talk to yourself, or if you have anything that you physically do to help you calm down. Would you say you have anything that you do in those situations?
I would say I like try to like use rationale and reason and like as like a scientifically driven person maybe. I look for like, okay, this building was designed to like laws have been put in place for building codes and safety measures, and you can't have a railing that's not going to support it, you know what I mean? And someone's not going to run up from behind you and like throw you over the edge. So I use that, and again, like maybe for the roller coaster example, you know, it's been tested. It's supposed to hold the weight, you know, how many thousands of times it's happened with no problems. So I use that. And then the physical measure is maybe I just don't go to the edge or like don't even look. Like
okay, So it sounds like you use like rationale to kind of reassure yourself that you're okay. Or like you said, you'll look away or you turn your back to it.
Yeah. Maybe like remove myself from the situation. Like
Mhm.
if I'm with a group of friends, let's say I'm over here, or I'll position myself so that I'm the furthest away from the edge. You know what I mean? Like where I don't have to like directly look at it over someone's shoulder or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with me. I know it's the first time we're meeting, so I do appreciate that. I'm gonna kind of go over what kind of therapy that we'll be doing, which is exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is part of cognitive behavioral therapy. So instead of looking as much about, why you have this fear, we're going to practice changing the behaviors, which would be avoiding the fears, so that when you come into contact with these things that scare you, your fear response is less, your anxiety is lower. Do you have any questions about that?
I don't think so. Maybe as we go, they might come up, but yeah, it sounds alright with me.
Mm-hmm. And you feel comfortable and you consent to doing exercises where you might be facing your fear?
Yeah, I think I am. I trust you.
Awesome. So, first what we're going to do now that we kind of know what you're afraid of, the things that you avoid doing, and then the ways that you try to calm yourself down, we're going to come up with a list of a couple things that you feel like you are afraid of that you want to focus on, and then we're going to rate your fear or anxiety about it on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. So, does anything come to mind right away? I know you mentioned watching YouTube videos or avoiding the sides of the wall, like on the second floor.
Yeah, I would definitely say like maybe just in my next mall trip,
Mm-hmm.
make a point to like walk to the second store or second story stores.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a way that like makes me have to cross the bridge to do that. You know what I mean? All of
Okay. So I would say go to the second floor of the mall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, is there anything else that is coming to mind?
I'd say like watch a movie through or like a video through without like pausing or like looking away. Try to like actually watch it and appreciate maybe that like this person's having fun and is loving it and they're happy as opposed to like the way I'm feeling. I'm nervous for myself, not even for them. And then
what about when you have to climb stairs, like if you have a friend who lives in an apartment?
If the stairs don't feel very stable or like if there's like a lot of visibility like to the ground, that is kind of like, oh, no thanks.
Okay, is it something that you would feel comfortable working up towards?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say second story it probably is my limit. Third, I'm like, okay, yeah, we are like at a distance up. You know what I mean?
So I'd like for you to think of a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being this doesn't cause any anxiety for me, any fear, 10 being this feels impossible, I'm too scared. Okay. How would you rate going to the second floor of the mall?
I don't think that's like totally insurmountable. It's like, I mean, I'm on the second floor now, but like towards the edge of the thing, probably like a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about watching a YouTube video of people being daredevils?
I say like a 2 over 3. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like it's like a paper cut that doesn't hurt. It's like uncomfortable. That's kind of how that feels. It's like it's not the worst, but like don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy. So the last one we talked about, which you said felt maybe more intense than the others, how would you rate going to the second floor of your friend's apartment?
Yeah, like a 3 or 4, like a 3.5, 4.
So it feels more doable?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
think so, yeah.
okay. Let's see. We have 3 now that we can start with. So while talking about it, we already did start kind of brainstorming what the exercise would look like. I'd like to kind of figure that out with you together. Things that you think are doable and helpful. So for your first one of going to the mall, that was a 4, video is a 3, and the stairs is also a 4. So let's start with the video.
Okay.
Do you feel like you're comfortable starting with that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And probably I can do anytime, anywhere. You know what I mean? In my own apartment, in bed.
I was thinking let's start with maybe 30 seconds of the video. Or
Okay.
does that still feel like a 3 to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To not turn it off and to keep watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this can always increase as you start to feel less anxious watching the videos. The way you know you're ready to move on to the next exercise is that you're going to be rating the overall fear that you were feeling or the anxiety. And let's say it starts at a 6, we'll know you're ready to move on to the next one once it's a 3. So once it's cut in half.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Let's start with, that is your first exercise, and like I said, we can keep increasing the time. And then next, going to the mall. What exactly does that look like for you? Would that, it sounded like you were saying standing near the edge and looking down. What is the fear?
Yeah. I think the fear is like the act of falling itself.
Okay.
Like my slip of over my shoelace, so that like someone bumps me or whatever the case may be. Or like I would truly a dingus, like drop my hat and go to reach it and like tumble over. But usually they're above waist high, and again, it's like, you know, these type of things don't happen very often at all. But I would say, like sitting on a bench near the edge and just like watching, or like standing, like leaning on the edge would be like an exposure that I'd be willing to try.
Okay.
So in like a palatable way.
So leaning on the edge and looking over, does that still feel like a 4 to you?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I think I could. Yeah, I think I could look over.
How do you feel starting with 30 seconds with that one as well?
I think I can. Yeah, it's like I can count to 30, or count to 10 3 times. Oh.
And
yeah,
part of what will make this successful is if while you're doing these and you are feeling anxiety, you don't engage in those safety behaviors that help lower your anxiety. It's important that we don't engage in those behaviors because we want to learn that even without them, it's okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Limit the like crutch, if you will. Okay.
So, since we didn't come up with anything that we can do in the office today, would you mind trying it on your own, or would you like to come up with something we can do today?
No, I feel pretty confident I can do it on my own.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of a me issue anyways. Yeah, why not? And then if I can't handle that, I know where to find you. Yeah, I'll be coming your way.
We didn't touch base yet on the exposure for the stairs. What do you think would be for? Do you think just starting a couple steps or going all the way up?
I think maybe like walking the full round of the stairs. So like again, I kind of stay towards the center of like where the pillar or the base or like the most stable part is. And if there's like a little landing, like a double back, maybe walk the perimeter of the landing so that you're near the edge. And yeah.
So you feel like an appropriate place to start walking around the staircase?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so just maybe one round.
Sure. Yeah. Up. Yeah. Coming up and down will be like.
Okay. So I will give you the information from today. So explaining, it'll have written there too, just as a reminder, explaining how to do an exposure. Again, you'll be starting with the video. To walk you through, you would find a video that maybe you've seen before that cause anxiety, or if you need help, I can help you find one as well.
Okay.
I would say start with the 30 seconds and see where your anxiety is at, rate it from a 1 to a 10 at the end. And repeat that 5 times a day until we see each other on the next session. And hopefully you'll start to see that anxiety go down.
Should I put time between the 5 watches?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would wait until you feel like you've met more of a baseline before starting the next exposure round.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a great
fair
question.
enough.
Thanks.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
It was great to meet you.
Likewise.
When we see each other next, we'll go over how did it go, what happened, did it increase, decrease, are we ready to do the next exposure? But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.